to the letter. Number two, our understanding of what's morally correct or morally right or morally wrong is dependent on the information we have around us, the surroundings we're in, the society we live in. That already shapes our moral understanding. So today, if we agree on a set of moral standards, there is nothing to say that the generation after us will accept that moral standard. I'll give you an example. I think the different people on the stage have already touched on it. 30, 40 years ago, being gay was not only taboo, it was something that was frowned upon. And if someone came out and said, yes, I'm gay, he would most likely, at the very least, being beaten up, if not worse. Today, it is accepted morally, ethically, whatever word you want to use, to have same-sex relationships. Now, if our forefathers or generations before us decided to draw up or draft a set of moral standards, not just on this one issue, but generally in life, how much of that would we accept? And who then decides what's morally accepted, what's morally not accepted? So we'll be in a constant state of flux, constant state of change, so which leads to the degradation of society ultimately. So the point is that we were created, or at least from the perspective of Islam and Muslims, and most monotheistic religions, we were created by a being, a creator. He knows us best. He has tried to pass us a message through history, through time, through the hands or through the words of different people who proclaim to be prophets. So those people, I think we need to start looking at those people, if we haven't already. What are they saying? What is, from a moral standpoint, what is morality? How are they defining it? How are they addressing this whole issue of society? And I think, I may be biased in my opinion, being a Muslim, but I think you'll find that as you start whittling down all of these revelations, for lack of a better word, all of these revelations, you'll come to one conclusion, that only Islam provides you not only what moral conduct is, but how to implement that moral conduct in society and how to safeguard that moral conduct. Not just for today, not just for tomorrow, but we believe till the day of judgment, till the end of time. So really it comes down to, can we as individuals or as a collective decide what's right and wrong for individuals in this society, or can we not? So that's really the question I think you need to ponder over. My question to the panel is, we've heard three very different reasons or approaches to Islam, but there are people in the audience maybe for the first time they've come here and they've heard about Islam. What would be your suggestion to them in terms of what they should do next in terms of their search for Islam? Not saying that they're going to walk out of this room and proclaim the Shahada and we need to teach them how to pray, but what is the next step in their journey?
I would say just do research. Maybe come to the group on Tuesday at Resvia if you want. If you have any questions, just come down. We just drink tea and coffee and have a lot of biscuits and talk basically. And it's very informal and anyone's welcome basically. So come down there and ask your questions and see what you think of the answers basically. But I would say also, just research. There's some really good sheikhs online. Sheikh Hamza Youssef, I would say, is a good one for people that are just starting to become interested. Imam Zaid Shakir, I would say he's really good. Muhammad al-Sharif. They're all Western scholars, and their talks are very good and very kind of listenable. So I would say do your research. I would say that don't just dive into the Quran, because the Quran is a text which in some cases is referring to specific circumstances which scholars would know about, but if you just dive in and have a read, you're not going to grasp what it's saying. maybe, you know, if you find a certain part in the Quran, or if you're told about a certain part in the Quran, then research what scholars, and especially the Western scholars, because they're very easily accessible for us as Westerners, and see what they say about it and how they kind of give the correct interpretation of the meanings.
We've got 5 minutes left, so are there any other questions?
Just a follow-up comment on that. I was going to say about anyone interested in Islam. There's Lewis mentioned about not sort of diving in and sort of reading the Quran or looking in any specific sort of areas in there. There is another book which is written by a convert to Islam, or revert as we should put it, and it's in the eyes of a revert sister who's reverted to Islam. And it's the title of the book is Understanding Islam, and it goes through a very sort of detailed process, but it touches upon lots of different areas. And several people that I've spoken to that have embraced Islam have read books like that, and it's really helped them piece their knowledge together. So they spend a lot of time with Muslim people saying, oh, he's done this, she's done that, why have they done this? And yet they've read this book and it's sort of sandwiched and pieced everything together. So effectively in your journey to Islam, you look at so many different things, but trying to piece it all together is very, very difficult. And when you speak to different people, you learn different things. So if you've got one source or one text, that's a very useful way. The second point that I wanted to mention was, again, a lot of people that I've spoken to who reverted to Islam, one common theme that I've noticed with them that I'd like to share with you all here is the fact that when it comes to actually trying to make your connection with God, so you're walking along where you're thinking, bloody hell, there's more to life than, you know, this hardship I'm going through, or thank you to someone for all these blessings that I have. You've only got to go to a hospital ward and see how many ill people there are and how many, you know, problems and pain and suffering people are going through to realise yourself how lucky you are. But that is to say that don't give God a label, don't call him Allah, don't call him God, don't give him any label whatsoever, but just have your moment yourself and just be yourself and just think, God, whoever you are, whatever label I'm going to put on you, guide me, give me some assistance in my life. I'm going through this hardship. Thank you for X, Y, Z, but can you give me ABC as well? And just keep having this constant sort of communication in whichever way, shape or form that you feel is right to communicate with God. And eventually, somewhere along the lines, you will get some guidance. And it's not going to be like the lotto, a hand pointing down and saying it's you, but it's more a case of something strong would happen that would guide you towards the true path. And that would be your insight into a given religion.
I think if you ask for guidance, basically you'll be guided. If you earnestly ask for it, then...
Can I add to you, there's some very, very good biographies of the Prophet out there. I mean, for an English person, one of the most approachable is Karen Armstrong's, who's a well-known writer. She did a Prophet simply called Muhammad a few years ago, which is quite well written for somebody who just wants to learn a bit more about his life and what the circumstances of the revelation were. And then there's obviously more mainstream biographies, written by Muslims, but hers is quite an approachable one for somebody coming to it for the first time.
Yeah, and a point I'd like to make is that the notion we have been brought up in the West is that religion is restrictive. Yeah, options will close, doors will close, opportunities will go away if we adhere to religion. But if you just take the last few years, I think under the Labour government, they passed something like 1,600 new laws, something ridiculous. It's now illegal to open a shipping vessel door without permission. There's a law for that, there's another law for this, and it's endless, The way we view our religion is it's very liberating, which might seem quite odd to people because you've been programmed to believe that religion is restrictive and it closes your options. The way we see it is we have some certain God-given rights which only God can give us, no one else can give or take away from us. Now, For man to then come along and say, okay, we're now going to change this, we're adding this, we're taking this away, we say no. We have these basic rights, they're God-given. The permissible in Islam are many, the forbidden are a few. That's the basic principle in Islam. So it's not for any person, man or woman, to come along tomorrow and say, okay, we're now changing this, we're now changing that. So for us, our faith is a very liberating system. God-given rights, those are ours, no man can take those away, no woman can take those away. No matter what the politicians say, no matter what they try to do in terms of war and distort society, we always have that reference point of our rights. And I believe that's why they're coming so hard against us, is that we've got to destabilize this foundation, this base which gives them strength, and just turn the world into a messed up relativism, everyone having their own kind of weird and wacky ideas. I mean, why should my children in school at 5 years of age be taught sex education? I think is ridiculous. Yeah? We talk about sexualization of society. Why have they done books where they're showing that same-sex marriages are equal to a normal relationship? I don't think my children should be imposed on that way of thinking. Yeah? I mean, some things are basic. Man and a woman, God created them for each other, and I don't care how much propaganda they throw at me. I will never believe that a relationship between two men or two women is natural and is wholesome. Call me a bigot, call you what, but that's my opinion. And I think you shouldn't be imposing these kind of minority views. I mean, gays and lesbians might make up less than 1 to 2% of the population. Why should their views be taught as equal to our children? What kind of confusion are we sowing in the minds of the future generations? So we really have to make a stand. It's kind of, they're giving us the image to be hip and to be trendy. We've got to be relative. Everything goes, yeah? And that's fine, you do your thing. But in the end, we all lose out, ultimately. Because this kind of confusion that reigns and the destruction that it causes on society, we all suffer. The Prophet gave a beautiful analogy that society is like a ship. And if you're on the top layer of the ship and you're content with yourself, and you're not taking care of the people down below, the people down below are thirsty. And they'll think, all right, what do we do? Yeah? We need to quench our thirst. So they'll drill a hole in the hull of the ship, thinking, oh, that's a great thing. Yeah? By doing that, the whole ship will sink. And society is in the same way, that if you don't take care of the whole of society and you allow people to look for their shortcuts, in the end, the whole of society will suffer. So I'd like to sort of end on that we really question the thoughts that we hold, the opinions that we have, are they really ours, or have those been carefully placed there through all the different channels that we expose ourselves to, going through life? We think we're open-minded. Are we really open-minded? Yeah? Are we really asking questions? Are we really challenging assumptions that are built up in our minds? We'll end on that. It's 9 o'clock. We have another event on Saturday, which will be held at all the different local mosques. What's the best way for people to find out more information about this? Has it been put on the web?
I don't think it's on the web, but we can either.
Is it? Okay. So if you go to Abu Bakr, it's probably hard to spell for some people, Abubakr, masjid.net. You'll see the online poster, and please feel free to come along. We'll have a lot of different talks on different subjects this Saturday, and obviously with the restricted amount of time we have, we can't really do justice to maybe the different subjects that we would like to touch on, but because Saturday is a full day event, it will give people probably a much better opportunity. And other than that, we have a Tuesday meeting, which Lewis talked about, tea and biscuits and chilled out philosophical chat about anything really. And that's held every Tuesday, 7:30 at Razvia Mosque. If you just Google it, you'll find out where that is.
Just say it's next to the mosque with a big green dome.
Yeah.
So if you see the green dome
On the Charlotte Place roundabout.
yeah, it's basically down an alleyway. Just near that.
Okay, once again, thank you all for coming along, and appreciate it. Thank you.